Have you noticed that your arms don't feel as strong as they used to? That getting up from a chair takes a little more effort? Or that your grip seems weaker even though you're eating what you think is enough protein? And have you ever wondered if the food you've trusted for years, especially eggs, might not be protecting your muscles the way you were led to believe? The title says doctors are shocked. This food has 20x more protein than eggs. And the thumbnail warns reverse muscle loss fast, eat this as soon as possible. And that's not clickbait, fear. It's a wake-up call, because most people believe eggs are the gold standard for strength. Yet doctors and researchers are now uncovering that relying on them alone may quietly allow muscle to fade year after year without obvious warning signs. And what's truly unsettling is that there's a simple, overlooked food sitting on store shelves right now that delivers dramatically more usable protein than eggs, absorbs faster in an aging body, and could be the difference between staying strong and slowly losing independence. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If this food exists, why isn't anyone talking about it? And could missing it be the reason muscle loss feels inevitable, even when you're doing everything right? Have you ever been told that muscle loss is just a normal part of getting older? That a little weakness, slower movement, or quicker fatigue is simply something you have to accept? Even if you're eating well and staying active, the truth hinted at in the title, and reinforced by the urgency of the thumbnail, is that muscle loss doesn't usually announce itself with pain or sudden collapse. It happens quietly, a little at a time, as your body becomes less efficient at using the protein you eat, meaning you can feel fine while strength is slipping away in the background. And this is exactly why so many people are shocked when simple tasks start feeling harder than they should, because digestion slows, appetite shrinks, and the muscles stop responding to familiar foods the way they once did, creating a dangerous gap between what you eat and what your muscles actually receive, which leads to an important and slightly uncomfortable realization. If the problem isn't how much you're eating, but how well your body can use it, then the solution isn't more food. It's the right kind of food, absorbed at the right time, in a form your muscles can still recognize and respond to. So what if the real breakthrough hinted at in the title isn't about eating bigger meals or forcing down more protein, but about a form of food that bypasses many of the digestive roadblocks that quietly appear over time, delivering a powerful muscle signal with surprisingly little effort? The reason doctors are shocked, and why the thumbnail urges action as soon as possible, is because this particular food doesn't behave like typical meals at all. It's extremely concentrated, requires minimal digestion, and sends an almost immediate message to muscle tissue that says repair and rebuild, even when appetite is low or chewing feels like work. And here's where curiosity should spike. Ounce for ounce, it provides many times more usable protein than eggs, not because eggs are bad, but because this food is stripped down to what muscles actually need, allowing the body to absorb it quickly instead of wasting energy breaking it apart, which explains why researchers are now paying close attention to it for people experiencing rapid strength loss, poor recovery, or long periods of inactivity, raising a crucial question you should be asking yourself right now. If something this efficient exists, why keep relying on foods that demand more from a body that's already working harder than it used to? Before revealing what that food actually is, it's important to clear up a common misunderstanding, because the goal isn't to villainize eggs or make you feel like you've been doing something wrong. It's to explain why the title challenges such a deeply held belief in the first place, and why the thumbnail feels so urgent. Eggs are nutritious, familiar, and easy, which is exactly why so many people depend on them. But what rarely gets discussed is that as digestion slows and stomach acid drops, the protein in whole foods like eggs becomes harder for the body to fully break down and use, meaning a good portion of what you eat never reaches muscle tissue at all. And this creates a dangerous illusion where you think you're supporting strength, while muscles are quietly being and that's the uncomfortable truth doctors are now pointing out. It's not that eggs stop being healthy, it's that they stop being enough on their own when muscle preservation becomes the priority, especially when appetite, chewing, and absorption aren't what they once were, which naturally leads to the question everyone is waiting for. If eggs fall short under these conditions, what kind of food actually meets muscles where they are now? So here's the moment the title has been building toward, and why the thumbnail feels impossible to ignore. Because the food doctors are quietly paying attention to isn't a trendy superfood or a complicated recipe. It's a highly concentrated protein source that delivers an extraordinary amount of muscle building power in a very small serving, often providing close to 20 times more protein by weight than eggs. And the reason this matters so much is that it doesn't rely on heavy digestion, strong appetite, or large portions to work. It dissolves easily, absorbs quickly, and floods muscle tissue with the exact amino acids needed to trigger repair and strength, even during periods of low activity, recovery, or weakness. Which is why it's increasingly being used in medical and rehabilitation settings where preserving muscle is critical. And what makes this especially reassuring is how simple it is to use. Stirred into a warm drink, blended into a smoothie, or added to soft foods without changing taste or texture. requiring no chewing and very little effort, raising a hopeful realization. Maintaining strength and independence doesn't always require doing more. Sometimes it just requires using a form of nutrition that finally works with your body instead of against it. If all of this sounds almost too powerful, that's exactly why the final message behind the title and thumbnail matters so much. Because this isn't about rushing into extremes or replacing every food you enjoy. It's about understanding that your body's needs change and giving it tools that match where it is now, not where it used to be. And the most reassuring part is that small, consistent choices can make a real difference over time when they're made thoughtfully and safely, especially when you listen to your body and work alongside medical guidance if you have existing conditions. Because strength loss is not a personal failure, and it's not inevitable. It's often a signal that your muscles simply need a different form of support, and the hope here is simple but powerful. When you feed your muscles in a way they can actually use, you're not just protecting strength, you're protecting confidence, mobility, and the freedom to keep living life on your own terms. Which leaves you with one final question worth thinking about today. If staying strong is possible with the right choices, why not start giving your body that advantage now?